People are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
That is strange.
Wow, that is strange. This is strange.
And welcome back to another episode of Strange Sauna. Brandon Kroll is back in the house, everybody. He's here to get steamy with us. We're going to be talking about Trump. Lucifer. We're going to be talking about Baron, all this crazy stuff that's happening right now. I'm sure, Brandon. Ooh. Hold on. You guys still there?
We're still here.
Okay.
Still here?
Something crazy.
Cyber attack.
Hey, something just happened. But I can just
10
edit
days
that
of
out.
darkness.
Follows me around.
10 days of darkness. Oh my
Yeah.
God, folks, the plan is working.
Q, was that you? No, I don't know. Yeah, so I can either leave that in or edit that out, but hey, whatever.
No,
We're
you
here.
leave that in, bro.
We're here to win this. So yeah, Brandon, welcome back to the show, man. How you been?
Good. Going through a few things, but overall, can't complain. Still breathing, so that's a
Amen.
plus.
Yeah, right on, man. Okay, well, what do you have to talk about today? What are we talking about?
Same old, same old. So here's a little thing, and I don't have any proof. This is literally as conspiracy theory. I'm just literally spitballing etymology, speculation,
Sure.
way out in cyberspace. I have nothing for this.
Okay.
But the word cannibal
Uh-oh.
started making me start thinking.
Oh, boy.
So who was the first individual to get killed in the Bible?
Abel.
Cain and Abel? Cain?
Mhm.
Oh my God, I got one right. Yeah.
Woohoo.
Now, merge those words together.
Cannibal. Cannibal.
Cain and Abel. Cain, Abel.
Yeah.
Cannibal. Okay.
I again, totally spitballing. It's not exactly there, but it started making me ask the question. Of course, I looked it up. Is there anything in the Apocrypha? So on and so forth. But there is some lore in regards to somebody's phallus getting chopped off, and this is where monoliths started becoming a thing, and this is why the occult worships the aspect of the all-seeing eye and the seed.
Right.
So I was just wondering, is there possibly any something there? Because some stories will say it's Shem, other stories will say it is Seth. And I'm over here going, well, if it's Shem, that's after flood. But if it was Seth, but we know how these mythos, quote unquote, start traveling, and maybe some of them mingled, some of them merged. And it's like, you have to do deity telephone, lift up all the dominoes from history and anthropology,
Right.
and kind of piece together something. And when I did, it led to Trump, it led to Baron, and it led to those two bodies that I mentioned before. I think you actually have that in the intro of your show. The sarcophagus coffin that they opened up over there. And
Gilgamesh.
it does connect with this in the Masonic apron. So that's kind of just a little bit of a teaser. That, again, I understand when people roll their eyes saying, you're just really... I admit it. That one is reaching. I
Right.
have nothing on that.
Well, I mean, when you look at Trump and you look at how he's kind of worshipped over in a certain country in the Middle East, I mean, it's almost like it's a bloodline thing, right? You had a rabbi trying to trace his bloodline back to King David, and I don't know if that's going to be successful or not. But it's almost like, what? And when you mentioned cutting the penis off, it made me think of Lorena Bobbitt, and I'm like, was this a whole Osiris ritual that they just did? Like, what is going on here? I got to look back into that story.
Swearing in being inside the belly of Isis, aka the dome with the apotheos.
Yeah, the apotheosis of George. Yeah, exactly.
It's just making me go, he's the only one to be conceived in the womb, and then he comes out after that whole thing. So it just was making me go,
Right.
And again,
Well, actually,
mentioned something on that.
Well, he was the first one since Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan did the same thing. He moved. Yeah. So when Ronald Reagan was signed or sworn in, he moved it inside the rotunda as well. And if anybody doesn't really know what we're talking about, inside of the Capitol rotunda where Donald Trump was sworn in, on the ceiling is the apotheosis of George Washington, where it's literally George Washington becoming a god, nothing to do with Jesus Christ, a lot of pagan deities surrounding him while he's sitting there as like a king figure, and Donald Trump was sworn in right below that.
And he didn't put his hand on the Bible. Like, what's your take on that?
There you go.
That I do have visuals, but if you notice when you're looking at him, that he's basically doing the as above, so below, because he has the hand down at his side and he has one hand going exactly up. If you put your hand on the Bible, you would be what? You'd be acknowledging the New Testament.
Right.
You can't do that if you're a vampire. You can't touch garlic. You can't touch
true.
something that's Yeah. So
Ugh.
if you're going to be initiating Noahide laws and denouncing Christ, I can't touch that.
So does Donald Trump sleep standing up, or is this? Does he have a coffin? He doesn't sleep.
I don't know.
He's just.
I
He
don't know.
doesn't sleep.
Wow.
There's
Okay.
a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Now he did put his hand on the Bible when he got sworn in the first time.
Right.
Correct.
And a lot of people are saying the reason why he didn't this time is because the corporation is bankrupt. United States is now going to turn into a republic. He was sworn in earlier. This is just, like I said, I'm here for the excuses. I'd like to just hear everyone's excuses. But he did swear in on the Bible in 2016. I personally think that's a different Trump than we are seeing now. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Flex thinks everybody's a clone.
I think everyone's been replaced.
Yep.
Maybe my glasses are too tight, my bullshit glasses. But
Did you guys see the Captain America meme that I did?
I did not.
So like
Ooh.
Brave New World, but it was saying like you knew I was a snake, and somebody has one where like the reptilian face is starting to show. But as well, you had Red Hulk,
Right.
and he's the president. And last time when they foreshadowed something like this, they had at the end of Captain America, he runs out and he sees behind him and he's trying to figure out what century am I in.
Exactly.
He sees a sucker for Corona beer, he sees a spiked virus, and then he also sees a mask. And it was like,
foreshadowing.
okay,
yeah,
you guys
a
are
little
always,
bit, eh?
yeah, you're throwing a little hints at us, and I'm going.
So you think Trump's going to become the Red Hulk here soon? Is that?
I can't say those words with the V word, V for vendetta. Let's call it that. But there was a lady at one of the. You probably covered this. She went to one of the events. Her body was all painted in red, and she had those little spore dots all over her body.
Yeah, Doja Cat.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, and for me, I was like, is that a little bit of a nod to the measles that they're telling us that there's going to be sores over the body, and is that connecting with the 5G activating those special elixirs from 2020?
Aye.
Special
No.
elixirs.
Yeah.
They better not try to pull that crap again. I mean, all these patriots out there saying we won't fall for it. This country's woken up. We're too many people, and I'm like, dude, whatever. Like, where were you in 2020? Because what I saw was a lot of people following in line.
Yeah. They're falling for it now. They're falling for it now with this whole new administration. Just everyone, involved. He's tried to talking about superheroes. He's tried to make this superhero type, like Marvel type administration. And we had a private call just yesterday before Pardon My American. We were chatting because they were like, who's your special guest? Like they wanted to know. So I gave them a little heads up. I said, it's Brandon. And we're going to be talking quite a bit about Trump and that as well. And I just said, like you're falling for this shit, right? It's kind of like just use some discernment, but as we know, there's always like a few good things he does that gets everyone, and it's the one or two things that Greg and I have talked about where you're like, and it's the that worries me,
right?
Because I think they're big whooms.
And not only that, but it's frivolous things that he'll give you, right? Like he's signing executive orders that there's only two genders, people. Okay, like we need this.
Oh wow,
no,
yeah, we already knew that, Trump. Thank you.
That was like God's law, or did legislation by Trump do that? And that's kind of where I'm going. I'm like, are you kind of putting yourself in substitute of that, which is the definition of Antichrist? Just side note, things like that. Like this is what I'm trying to tell folks. They're like, well, what if you're wrong? I'm open to being wrong. I hope I am wrong.
Right.
But
that's best case scenario, right?
We're having way too many people going what ifs and but questions, and it's like, well, can you get up and start saying something yourself? And that's the problem. That's how it's an information war. So if you're still sitting on the fence line, if they do kick anything off, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you kind of have to start getting vocal at this point.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one thing you do believe in on what we're saying, start saying something.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, so, I mean, you have some presentation slides that you'd like to jump into, so I don't want to keep you waiting, and I'm curious to see what you got here.
I'm not sure. Oh, okay. That always happens. I forgot.
We got the link there. There's our link.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, that's my Instagram.
Hey, Greg forgot to send me the link, so he's like,
I did. I sent Brandon the link, and I'm like, oh, crap, flex.
Didn't want me on the show.
So yeah, I was I'm doing a little bit of reading because I like getting a little bit of context. What does this occult believe in? And I'm digging into some stuff. And again, as I said before, they're trying to complete the Ouroboros, the infinity logo, which I recently just found out reading another Gnostic alchemical page, that the Ouroboros, the figure 8 that's tipped on its side, as is better known, or the snake consuming its tail, that is also a mirrored 33.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So like the
I
meta,
know, right? I was like, oh,
would that include the meta logo?
yes, exactly.
Meta. Ooh.
Okay.
Meta meaning death in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, death of man to be reborn.
Mhm.
And again, like you might get with New Agers, Star Seed and whatnot, that's just in essence what they're teaching. And that's what this is an episode. Are you ready to Rem fan if people want to watch the whole thing where I touch on that? But Ninus, or Ninus, he's an equivalent of Nimrod's son Tammuz. And I'm reading this story, and I'll give you basically a little rough down here with reading some stuff. So Ninus was enraged that Shem, Noah's son, had killed his father. So he set out to find him and kill him. When he finally met, a great battle ensued. During this battle, Ninus managed to emasculate Shem. But Shem managed to gouge out the eye of Ninus.
Whoa.
This is Alexander Hislop from 63 through 5. This became known as the Wedjet, or the Eye of God symbol, found throughout the world, even even on our dollar bill.
Yeah.
Semiramis and Ninus, aka his mother, aka Nimrod's wife, sister, something in there, ruled together on this throne of Babylon for some time. During this time, Semiramis took on the attributes of Nimrod, the archer. Now, Gilgamesh translates into archer, just make note of that. The builder of walled cities and a great warrior. Semiramis was a vicious tyrant of a ruler who stopped at nothing to satisfy her whims. After some time, Ninus could no longer perform his manly duties with Semiramis, so she had him killed, but she continued to rule for many years as the Great Mother. Now, it's alleged one of two ways that he died. One is by Ash Wednesday, where we put the little T cross of Tammuz on our foreheads.
Okay.
Killed by a wild boar while going on a hunt. Very similar to Game of Thrones.
Right. I was going to say. Oof.
The other is that he emasculated himself. He cut it off, and that's also part of the thing where we get Pride Month, because
The transgender. Yeah.
Yeah, the alleged month of Tammuz or Hermes.
Right. Well, I was going to say,
go,
this whole story sounds like Osiris, Horus, Isis. I mean, kind of in the same ballpark.
Together. Yes,
you know
sir. And again, as you just said, you're immediately able to pick on a pattern here of similarities, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm going, okay, it's kind of like looking at a car accident. I'm the cop. I see somebody who was walking on the sidewalk. What did you see? I see somebody who was in the restaurant but saw the accident from the corner of their eye. They looked up, and this is what they saw. And I'm trying to piece it together with a modern, could this be true from what the occult says versus what the Bible tells me? Don't know. This is the plausible case that I have. I'll let you guys be the jury, judge, and executioner and determine whether I'm just nutsy or if there's a little something here to keep on digging in.
So now Ninus, Shem, and like Semiramis and all this stuff, this is during the times of Babylon.
Correct.
Okay. Which was roughly when? Like what? How long ago was that?
So it's very murky with the timeline of this, but in essence, like some stories will have Shem as the character in here that loses his phallus, and others will say that it is Seth, Adam's son, but I don't think Adam's son made it onto the ark. That's why I'm pitching the other thing, is that maybe there's a little bit of a pattern of a reboot.
Okay.
Where if it's Shem and he's saying, okay, you want to be like Seth Nimrod? Here, how's this feel? And then his son tries to replicate the same story by going after his uncle because you killed Dad Nimrod and cut off his phallus. So now I'm going to do the same to you. And as he's doing so, he gets in the eye.
Yeah. Right. It's like
Violent
the same.
as all get out.
Same freaking story.
Yeah. Yeah, but but again, if you have a pattern in a mythos and they're over here saying, all right, that's your mythos, guess what I'm going to do to you? But I'm doing it on behalf of God. Allegedly, I don't know, but that from one story it says Seth was really angry at Nimrod. But again, Seth didn't live post-flood, so I'm assuming that might be Shem.
Okay.
There's something there. A pattern is similar with both stories that I've heard. But again, we have to understand biblical timeline. I'm not going to rearrange my story to adapt. I'm going to try to find a plausible answer for what could have possibly be going on here.
Okay.
So the goddess Ishtar, where we get Easter from, during her rule had affairs with many men. This is where we get nymphomaniac.
Good for her.
Oh boy.
Wow. Among whom was her father-in-law. She also had several of these men put to death. Legend has it that Semiramis met Gilgamesh, Nimrod, a Babylonian king of the city of Uruk, and she declared her love for him. Gilgamesh refused her love with the statement that she might have to put to death as she had many lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing this, because Isis was mad at Osiris for cheating, and allegedly in ancient Babylon, apparently adultery was punishable by being burned to death.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Well, yeah, and I'm getting the Whore of Babylon vibes. You know what I mean?
Which is making me go, okay, so in their occult, Nimrod was reborn into his son Tammuz. But
Right.
if Osiris was sleeping around and she's sleeping around, Nimrod's dead, but you're pregnant, and your own law says you're supposed to be punished by burning.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to make this work?
Mm-hmm.
I was immaculately conceived by Nimrod.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the origins of the Christmas tree and the blood falling upon it and the yew tree worship. And this is, again.
Hey, it makes sense. Avoid punishment by making something up.
Mm-hmm. Sounds familiar?
Like an ancient Bernie Madoff story for me. I'm like,
That's it.
She did it.
Yeah.
So the early pagan religion was so well established in ancient Babylon. When God confounded their language at the building of the Tower of Babylon, this religion spread into all the world. We shall next look at the same religion as it was found in ancient Egypt. Semiramis was reportedly found in Egypt at one time in the role of healer of one of the royal households. This also helped to establish the religion in this country. Now, hearing that, I don't have to read all of this, but hearing that was making me start thinking, because like you said, I'm like, okay, so we get proof that she had a little bit of a connection with what was going on in Egypt. She has a story that's going on there. And we have Isis, we have Ishtar, we have Ashtaroth. They're all nicknamed Queen of the Heavens, right? So maybe there's something here. So then I started digging, and again, I'm reading in a book, I think it's the Encyclopedia of Signs and Symbols, where I get this slide on the left. And we have the fish symbol in Christianity, and we're like, that's a Christian symbol. Or is it?
Don't think so.
These initials.
The Jesus fish, I keep saying here all the time.
So they say. But
Yeah.
this is where I start going, okay. So these initials, IXOYE, is a symbolic monogram for Christ. The monogram comprises of the letters iota, ete, and sigma, which are the first three letters of the name of Jesus, in Greek, Iusus. And the letters stand for the Latin phrase Iusus hominum salvator, meaning Jesus, savior of man. Later, the symbol became a sign of peace. The IHS, Jesuits, symbol is generally embossed on the communion wafer and the initials surrounded by the rays of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Sun god worship, son of god worship,
Right.
Sol Invictus and Mithraism is what is the foundation of Catholicism. Many Catholics would like to detract on that. I always ask them, have you read the books on those things? No, it's just the one true Church of Christ. I'm asking you to look at the history just in case I'm right that there is a counterfeit.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of that. And the sun rays are telling me, because Nimrod was the originator of sun worship. So, hearing that about the fish, hearing this about Isis, I then was reading this other book, which I have literally right next to me, Romanizing Oriental Gods by James Alver. And I'm reading this, and I started going, wait a minute. So the only part that Semiramis or Isis could not find of Nimrod after his body was cut up into 13 pieces was the penis.
This is the same story, dude. Osiris and Isis.
Literally.
Because Seth or Shem had tossed it into the Nile and had been gobbled up by some fish.
Oh, boy.
So she made a replica and set it up for worship, monolith,
Mhm.
which continued down to Plutarch's day, modern day. Do you ever see a church steeple? Bell Tower. At the same time, the tradition of Harpocrates was conceived after Osiris's death, shows that the severed penis, for all that is that it had been eaten, which makes me go a little again, cannibal,
I get you.
continued in some sense to exist and to retain virality. The injunction against eating certain kinds of long, thin fish might be related to the resemblance to a phallus, but the idea is not very persuasive, since the prohibition only applied to specific fish in certain areas of Egypt. On the other hand, the fact that the only part of Osiris that almighty Isis failed to recover was that naughty tool.
Dang. Hopefully it's a big fish. I mean, if it's small fish, that says something about you, huh? Tiny fish.
Well, the water was cold, so brighten like
cold water.
Brighten like a turtle, as they would say in Seinfeld.
There you go.
Well, if you're going by the serpent seed narrative, I almost kind of wonder if Cain was connected with what's his face, Lucifer. If it's true, I don't know. But if that's true, and you're kind of trying to end the seed that would come from Adam, wouldn't it be kind of a symbolic gesture to eat the organ in which he would be produced?
Yeah, it would be symbolic. I don't know if it'd do much.
Symbolic, a little bit nasty, but
I mean, and then look.
beans.
So this person laying here, is this Gilgamesh? This is Gilgamesh's tomb, and he has a fatty goldfish on his chest.
He's got a fish on his chest. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm thinking this is Nimrod. I think I think this is Gilgamesh. And the reason being is because of the fish that they found on his chest. To add to that, the aprons kind of could be a fish, a little bit with the top, right? Got the fin. This is where we might get a little bit of the legacy of Dagon, the Phoenicians' god, with which when the Ark of the Covenant was brought before it, it fell down overnight. So now might be where we get the Masonic all-seeing eye because of the phallus that was cut off.
So this is his.
This similar to the pride flag, which with also attracted to underage kids. That's what the light blue. Right. And again, that's what we wrap babies in when they're born. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Same
pink and blue. Yeah, same colors. Yep.
Right. So, what do you think about Hillary Clinton wanting to find the tomb of Gilgamesh or being excited about it when she was the WikiLeaks emails and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that's about?
Again, if I'm right, that 9/11 was coronation day for kings in ancient Israel, and it was also coronation day for the Antichrist. If I am right, I'm thinking that was kind of a little bit of a giddy moment for her, because this is what they've been striving to do. Is X is bringing back Osiris, and who happens to be partnered up with a certain guy with everything in his company's named X.
Right.
At the top of the Hermetic Kabbalah tree of life, as we covered before, is known as Corona. At the very bottom is known as Malkuth, and it's also the 10th letter, X.
Yeah.
Osiris rising. Year of the goat is 2027. Let's just say I'm seeing, and it's also the year I think that Elon Musk, he said he wants to have like 400,000 robots for already made and bought in homes at that time.
I thought you were going to say 400,000 children. I'm like, well, he's almost he's on his way there.
Listen, if he doesn't have, I'm not going to even go there.
Try to outdo Father Abraham with this. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But this was the other guy that they found, which is, again, I think this is in your intro, and I think this might be Tammuz. Now, again, CERN, named after the Celtic god of the underworld, an equivalent of Osiris and or Dispatar, which is where we get, what is it? Dis means set apart, and then Patar means father, if you're going by Catholic Latin, right? So Patar, Saint Patar. When you see Saint Peter at the pearly gates, Dispatar was known as the Latin sky god of the underworld, quote unquote. So if they gave us the internet over at CERN and its logo is 666, and inter means place for a tomb or a corpse, net to hold or restrain something, and we're getting something pushed at us called what? Crypto? Crypt, place for a tomb, O for Osiris, dead man's currency.
Could be, yeah.
World Wide Web.
Yeah. I mean, crypto, like where the hell did crypto even come from? Like why choose that for a digital currency? Why are you calling it crypto? Because it's like sneaky?
No, because Brandon just told us. It's right there, Greg.
Yeah.
This is it.
I'm speculating. I'm just speculating. I totally could be wrong.
But
But
we know how these dudes work, you know.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's by this at this point, it's like this is centuries and centuries of
In the making.
hiding things and renaming things or moving things around so that it's to the obvious people like us that are awake. We see it now, and those that aren't or still aren't sure. They're very smart at doing that. That's for sure. You know.
Well, Manly P. Hall, 33 Degree Mason, he said, when mankind learns to read the language of symbolism, a great veil will fall from the eyes of men. And then revelation means the lifting of the veil,
Mm-hmm.
or apocalypse, like a great event being revealed on stage. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hate to say it, I'm seeing that going on. You got some Christians that are going, it's another psyop. Like,
Yeah.
why is that all? They're like, why are you automatically saying that? Because it's so easy to see at this point, because we're awake to what their shenanigans are.
Right.
And that's why they hate us. This is why you have to make war against the saints as an antichrist, because we're making them look like a laughing stock.
Right.
That's how easy it is to troll these people when you understand how the game is played.
Yeah, it's either like they're selling the story and they're trying to keep it hidden, and then those that can actually see the veil being lifted are seeing these patterns and seeing these trends and going like, wait a second, this looks like end times prophecy type stuff. It's either like it's really happening or they're manufacturing this and playing everybody and fooling even Christians into believing, hey, this is the end times. And then I could totally see that as well. I could see them fooling Christians into believing that this is the end times. And when Jesus Christ doesn't return, because it's man that's manufacturing this, it's not God deciding when the end times is, right? Then you have this falling out of certain religious people where they go, well, my Christ didn't return, so what am I to look at for now? And that's when they usher in the new religion, and that's where aliens come.
Religion.
Mm-hmm. Right. And again, if you kill all the real Christians, and then you have everybody just kind of reeling what's going on. We just now had Apophis wormwood hit the earth. What are they going to be looking for? This is when you would launch a Project Bluebeam scenario. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but like before Donald Trump won, on his campaign trail, he was saying it was his final battle. This is our final battle. He said it like 27 times or something. And in the Freemason world, Albert Pike called for the Third World War as the final battle between Jews and Muslims. And at the end of the Third World War, he said Christianity would go bye-bye and atheism would go bye-bye, which means something has to replace it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So this final battle that we're going through, who the hell knows what's going to be the outcome of it?
Right. And wouldn't it be kind of sad that if for like first 3.5 years it looks okay, but then the last 3.5 you're like, what did I sign? All you had to do was hold out a little longer and maybe endure some man's wrath. But because you couldn't and you didn't want to see, you didn't want to acknowledge, because, no, he's going to still fix it. Trust the plan.
Yeah.
Sad, but
would you say we're at the beginning of this, the middle, or towards the end? Like,
I would say in October, something's going to kick off.
October.
And I lean on October. I'm gonna get to the slide that I started with when I was doing the prep for the period of the show. But it's for me. They have from 2025 to 2032 where we have that meteorite potential chance hitting us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think of when we were talking about the statue. Hold on, I can narrow this down and see if I can shrink it. We were talking about the statue in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Something I found interesting is that we have Mars, right? He says we're going to put our flag on Mars. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the chakras, which, again, you can put, it's like the Caduceus staff. You put it right over this Hermetic Kabbalah tree of life in the very center here. So this represents divine man. This is the Star of Remphan, or Star of David, as other people might know it best as. Very top, Kether, Corona. Very bottom, Malkuth X, means kingdom, right? Mm-hmm. And we have the Empire of the 10 Clay Toes, which is the Club of Rome, when they want to cut everything up into 10 sectors. And they want to reach this golden age of Babylon once more. The crown chakra, the corona. Mm-hmm. The third eye being the face, right? You're achieving your divine godhood.
Yeah, and not only that, but the god of the golden age was Saturn. And Saturn lines up right with the third eye chakra. Everybody's waking up. It's the time of the great awakening here, everybody.
At the very bottom, though, which I'm laughing because when you're doing this, and I'm using this for demonstrational purposes, but when you tip it this way, that's supposed to be the root chakra. But it also is 666, and the root chakra happens to be Mars. And who wants to go up there and give us a colony and has everything named X? And it aligns with the feet. And what comes to crush the empire of iron and clay? The rock of our salvation, the word of God, Christ returning. And there's supposed to be a rock collision in 2032. I don't know. It's just speculation. But as well, the Feast of Sukkot is the fall feast. We had the Pentecost, which is the spring feast, right? All the nations hear the language in their own tongue. And then what would we have right before Christ's return is the two witnesses. Everybody's able to hear the gospel once more. They go out, they reach everybody, whether that's Christians, whether that is literal two people coming back. I don't know, but I would say we're really freaking close because for 3.5 years, just like Christ, they go out and preach to all the nations, right? So if, again, you had the spring harvest, now you're having the fall harvest right before the master's return. It's just speculation, but that's why I would lean in October. And again, I think we had October 12th or 13th is Columbus Day. That's roughly around the same time as the Feast of Sukkot. Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Right. And there's supposed to be a blood moon tonight going into tomorrow night as well. So we'll see what happens. I called that the Pope's going to die, but
I was going to ask
we'll
what
see.
your take on the Pope is. Is he already dead?
I think he's still alive, but I think I'm leaning more on Greg's thing is that's going to happen either during the sacrifice of the red heifer, which is allegedly, I think, on the 25th of this month.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was coming up that soon.
Yeah,
allegedly. I've seen something saying that. Hold on. Did I just goof? I did goof. Yeah, I've seen something saying that. But again, I don't exactly have proof. It's just speculation. But the interesting thing is Trump is the exchequer of the Vatican and the World Bank. He's already said, I think it was on Fox News, if I'm not mistaken, we need to have a universal religion. Universal Noahide laws is what he already went to, and he went to the Sanhedrin court to help implement internationally. I'm just saying I could definitely see a little bit of a crisis, and maybe they stall around for a little bit. Like, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to find the next pope. There's something off about this. Maybe there's a sign in the heaven where we have to, I don't know, but I could definitely see it because I think it was Chabad.org. There was something in there in the term with Noahide laws and universal moral codes. Cathode, cathedral, Catholic means universal church. I'm just laughing because uni connecting with verse, also having a little bit of a connection with moon god worship.
Right.
And ironically enough, Trump was born during a lunar eclipse that lasted for 91.1 minutes.
I was just going to say, where did you get that, dude? 91.1 minutes? Where did you get that? Is that from
This is by Clay Lee on Facebook, but he was doing his due diligence. It's not just me noticing this coincidence with 9/11. Now, granted,
right,
I've narrowed it in a little bit more specifically what it entails, but I found that very interesting because, again, Revelation 9/11 talks about Abaddon as the angel from the abyss. And ironically enough, Uranus in Gemini, Trump is born under the sign of Gemini, aka Pride Month. And it has this, the final 7 years are soon to begin, and the devil is in the details, and they show the two pillars, twin towers. And this is the sign, Hermaphrodite, Hermes, going between it, finding your inner self. This could be an equivalent of the Statue of Liberty, if you guys want to get really technical. But the 7 years that will transform human thought. So, as we said before, equivalent of Hermes, thought, Sirius, the dog that was at 9/11.
What's your thought on a few people have talked about how they feel like the tower that was replaced, the two towers, was the third tower, like the third tower they were talking about. Is there any connection to that? I know we keep talking about the third tower has to be built, but a lot of people were thinking that was the third tower. Yeah, the third temple, when they knocked down the 2 towers and replaced it with one.
Okay.
Another potential theory is when you got the special elixir from 2020, is that you changed your DNA code. Because every one of those apothecary elixirs that they gave you for your arms,
right?
They all had a little bit of meteorite in them. Allegedly, angels were known as star walkers, right? And this is why we either put a star or an angel atop of Christmas trees, because it's supposed to talk about you shall ascend to be like gods. I don't know, and there's also snake eggs that were used.
Ooh.
And apparently when you got that thing in there, it corrupted your natural DNA of 144,000, which is part of this presentation that I have here. And I was going, okay, wasn't there something in Revelation saying that there's a certain part that's set aside in the book of Revelation that with 144,000, everybody's going, it's a 12 of Israel and stuff like that. Or is it purebloods? Because everybody else got Operation Warseed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating, and I'm not saying it's everybody. Maybe it requires 2 parts. Like when I was watching a show, Babylon 5, he's over here taunting one of the guys that he's going up against. He says, you just drank half of a poison, and you're thinking, the guy's freaking out. And he's like, don't worry. He says, but if you don't do as I say within the next 5 years, I just have to send in the other half of this elixir, and it will basically rupture inside you, and you'll just pass out. And you don't know when I could possibly do that. So you be a good boy and you do as I say. Now, what if that is supposed to connect with AI Stargate?
Right.
Because AI, again, X, Stargate, I'm laughing because Babel in ancient Assyrian means portal of the gods or gateway of the angels.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous with these names, dude. So real quick, though, before we move on here, did you see this? Let me see if I can drag this over. Can you see?
Let me shrink down the screen.
I think I could just make this bigger. Can you see this screen that I'm dragging onto the field?
As it's getting bigger, a little bit more.
Okay, here. So this says judicial insurrection. Radical leftist judge wage all-out war against President Trump. 119 legal challenges in just 2 months, more than double of any U.S. presidents. And I'm like, 119 legal challenges. 911.
Whoa.
911 right there. That just came out today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Like, why not 120? Why not 115? Like, 119 is oddly specific, right? So I just thought that was pretty funny. I was like, okay. They're just throwing it in our faces at this time.
And he even had his victory parade on 119.
Oh, really? Okay. Yes.
That rally.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yes. It again, could be wrong, but then I keep seeing this kind of stuff and I'm going, you see what I'm saying? Again, 45, 4 and 7. It's just, it's weird, dude. It's really weird unless there is something there.
If it was 1 or 2 things spread apart so far that we couldn't see the pattern, okay. It's not. It's literally on a weekly, like Greg is the one that finds all this stuff. It's on a weekly basis.
Yep.
It's on a weekly basis. You see the 911, just like you hear 33 all the time.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. That to me is just old news. I tell people, look for the other pattern, which is the 11, 11, 9, 911, like you said, with the numbers on his hat.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not spread out. It's right in front of you.
Well,
and it's kind of like
it always has to do with Trump. Like it's those numbers tied in with a story about Trump. So it's like, what are they trying to do? What kind of energy are they trying to build with these things? So
yeah.
And again, speaking like he proclaims himself to be a god. In essence, that's kind of what he is doing, because people are getting tattoos on their bodies of his fist in the air or putting his literal name on their foreheads. I'm not kidding. I have photos of this, and it's making me go, I think we're only a hop, skip, and a jump from a 5G. Flick the switch, and boom, you got a zombified, Dark Maga Assemble thing going on, which is what Elon posted. And I'm like, dude, yeah, it's like a zombified authoritarian state. And if I'm right that the Nephilim possess you with this Mark of the Beast system, you become an international possession grid for an orgy for Nephilim to do whatever they want through you. You are their projected avatar.
Oh boy. Yeah, let's see. Everybody better hope that Brandon's wrong here, okay?
I hope I am, and I know I sound nuts. I have no friends or girlfriend. There's probably a reason for that.
Okay, well, hey, no shade, no shade.
Oh no. Still seeking, but I'm open to it. But yeah, Frederick Christ Trump was the name of his dad. Mary Ann McLeod for his mother. His aunt's name was Martha. So if Trump is supposed to be the Christ, and according to the UN, I think there's an article attached to them, they're saying "I hate the Antichrist" is now considered an anti-Semitic phrase.
Well, and
Kinda weird.
wasn't his grandma like Elizabeth Christ Trump, and she died on June 6th, 1966? So 6666.
So. Yeah.
Something like that.
There's a lot of that going on with this whole family of like, why is it always at this time and these dates? Like, this is kind of weird.
But like the Christ middle name, like what are we doing here?
Again, could be wrong, but again, with all this other weird stuff, it's just throwing it on the as I said, I never just go, oh, you're just right because you're a conspiracy. No, I'm like, put it on the back burner. Put it on the back burner. As soon I'm starting to see a fire in the back burner going, what's going on here? Because there's so much stuff over there. It's just burning and consuming, and I had to put it out.
Well,
as I'm putting it out, I'm finding out what caused the fire.
Let me have you done any deep dives into Fred Trump, Marianne Trump, like Trump's parents?
I've looked a little bit more into his dad. Incredibly racist guy. Definitely had connections with the KKK. Allegedly, Albert Pike was one of the founders of the KKK. And also the Knights of the Golden Circle, which had connections into Lincoln's assassination and John Wilkes Booth. So connecting that with his dad was just a little bit of a red flag for me. If you're asking more for business and whatnot, still jury's out on that. Busy with other avenues of exploration, but open to hearing anything if you have anything to throw at it.
Yeah, no, I haven't done any. So I'm curious if anybody's out there, leave a comment on this video and just say, hey, check this out. We'll go dig.
Throw a link. So according to this Mr. Weeks individual, he says he literally saw Barron slap the F out of his nanny at Central Park after school. Barron has also been caught killing animals. He has tossed a desk and spat on people. He hit people repeatedly, and he attacked someone with a knife multiple times. He was even accused of sexually touching someone at a sleepover that resulted in an investigation.
And so who is this? Mr. Weeks?
Mr. Weeks, apparently he has some sort of kids outreach program from what I'm piecing together with other photos, but he's affiliated with the nanny or babysit your kid for a day for rich people.
Okay.
And he's got a lot of this stuff out there. But again, this is stuff censored from mainstream media. And I'm kind of going, why? Because we always see, and I think there was an AI thing you put up.
Yeah. He's just gigantic. Yeah, he's just freaking, he's Nephilim.
He's a Nephilim.
And again, this is an old depiction, but this is a modern depiction. And when you look up Melania, somebody, I think his name is Jeremy Stone on Facebook, he did etymology tracing, put her name back to Isis and Ishtar, Melania.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I always wonder about her too, because like her ties just coming from Russia, what does she believe in? You know, I don't know if she's Christian. She said, I think that she's Catholic, but I'm like, are you really? Like, I mean, clearly Donald Trump is not Catholic. Like, do you guys go to church? Do you do like all this stuff? So does she have an influence on Trump? Like as far as this occult belief and ritual magic and whatnot?
I'm gonna tail into that in just a second.
Okay.
But something I find interesting is like Trump, as we said before, he has etymology to Tammuz. Now, Baron, that's the god of the underworld, according to voodoo.
Whoa.
Right?
Okay.
And who did we just find in those two corpses? Saturn, the all-seeing eye, was on top of the world ahead in the Economics magazine, and she wore a Saturn hat. Somebody was telling me, did you watch it? I said, no, I don't give my energy to this stuff. He said, did you see what Melania was wearing for her dress? I says, was it a white dress with a black Z? And they're like, how the frick did you know that? I says,
so you called that. Guess. You called that without even seeing it.
I didn't even see it, dude. I just knew that she was going to wear white with either like a black. And I was leaning on Z just due to the pattern in the Key of Solomon. I was leaning that she was going to be wearing a black Z. Whether like it's going to be a brooch, whether it was going to be like.
So there's
being correct.
So in the Key of Solomon, there's a Z. Is that what it's okay? Because everybody was saying, oh, it's like looks like Zorro or something. It's fitting with her black hat outfit, and I'm like, what?
Because that was supposedly allegedly the mark of Cain on his forehead was a lightning bolt. It was marked as the thing of Zayon.
Yeah, it's
Mark
like
of Zayon?
the Harry Potter ziggle, you know, zigzag.
And Zion.
Yeah.
I don't know, but again, like I said, so in order to have Nimrod, aka here, you need to go back from Tammuz, right? Reborn, rebirthed in the middle, and then you come back and have the unholy trinity. But basically, who would Baron be? Baron, I would lean on possibly being Lucifer. Because these are old paintings of Lucifer.
Right.
And he has a very spitting image of this. And again, the book by Ingersoll Lockwood, he has The Adventures of Young Baron Trump, or The Marvelous Underground Journey, which was published back in 1893. And then The Last President of 1900. And the image looks very similar to Baron.
Yeah, and this whole story, I mean, it's not just images that look like him. That whole story fit Baron Trump and Donald Trump. It's like, what? Like, there's so many different connections in that story.
Where did the story come from that he's a time traveler then? You know? Everyone's
that
been
connects
saying
with Tesla, which again, Donald Trump's uncle has connections with.
right.
Is there something with time travel? Possibly because the pentagram, 5G, penta, 5 gram, goat, god ram. Maybe that was affiliated with time travel. As I said before, the movie Back to the Future was based on Nimrod. My mom's attracted to me. The term mother.
Damn it, I like that movie too.
Yeah.
The
I just watched it, like
Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Where have you been, Doc? Or where have you been, Marty? I've been to the future, Doc. In the movie The Wire, where he walks between the Twin Towers, he was wearing the same outfit as Marty was wearing in Back to the Future. It's like
good old Biff, you know?
Yeah, based on Donald.
Yep.
Tannin, and again, tannin bomb connecting with fir tree tannin, Christmas trees. But interestingly enough, there's a book by Iris Gilbert known as Baron Trump with a corona spiked crown at the top, a biography of the heir to Donald Trump. Now, doesn't he have several older sons?
Yeah. He's got Eric and Don Jr. and
so why is he the heir? Unless there's a little breaching the dome symbolism too.
Yeah, the rocket right through it. Yep.
So to answer your question, oh, come on, stop that. This is the last one. So this gentleman, I tried to play this clip, but TikTok, of course, is glitching it up. But this young gentleman over here, his name is Gary Hawaii Boy Johnson 97. Full credit to him. I'll just give his Ezekiel dream that he had. He was in the White House. He is seeing what's going on behind closed doors. Elon Musk is going up to Baron and he is bowing before him. He says everybody in the White House is bowing before Baron. And Baron, in essence, is saying to Melania and Trump, you guys have raised me for this position. I am here to claim my birthright.
Wow.
And he goes up to Trump and he's expecting him to bow, and Trump does not want to bow. And Melania starts laughing maniacally because he's such a wussy, not bowing to their wonderful son. And eventually Baron does this little telekinesis thing, and Trump is forced to bow before his own son.
Damn.
Now, given what we saw with Elon's kid going, you're not the real president, blah, 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 mocking him and trolling him, I was kind of getting a little bit of like, was this guy's dream, whether true or not? It was a little bit similar to the dream from Ezekiel in chapter 8, talking about Tammuz, where they're doing a sun god worship ritual in the temple of God. And God's talking to Ezekiel saying, they think I don't see. They think I have after hours where I'm not able to tell what they're doing. So whether or not this is true, it was just something that was making me go, is this why he's always lurking behind the two? Is this why he was present during the Butler assassination? Because in Revelation 13, verses 3 and 4, talks about the dragon gave his power to the beast, right? Everybody started kind of going cray-cray and getting all these, fist pump thing in the air after that assassination.
Well, and not only that, but we were in the year of the dragon, where we had the election giving rise to beasts, you could argue.
The Vatican opening up portals in the sigil of Lucifer for the 7 days of Christmas.
Right. Dude, I want to touch on what you just talked about, though, with this, with his dream saying that Baron Trump was using telekinesis to kind of like have Donald Trump bow down. Okay. So there's this article that just came out March 7th. I don't know if you can see this. Elon Musk's Neuralink files a trademark for telepathy.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Oh,
So
This is
the brain implant company co-founded by Elon Musk is moving to trademark several product names, including telepathy and telekinesis. And it's a legit thing. I looked at the patent, I looked it up, and I'm like, are they going to try to give us these superhuman powers, the powers of the fallen angels, right? As like this coincidence, or not coincidence, but like a bribe to get you into this new religion, right? And that's where the transhumanism comes in, because it's like, I could totally see that's why they're doing this, to give you the cure for anything. They're going to give you enhancements so you can be a superhuman. You could be like a superhero. And that's why they have all these superhero movies, to like glorify it and want to become it. And then when you have the chance to become it by taking either a miracle medicine, right, or having some sort of infusion where you have to keep up the antidote, but there's a cost that comes with that, right? And it's like they can turn you off at any time, and that's like, ooh, I don't know, pretty evil.
well,
but they can do that now. They can turn us off to anything right now.
Well, I'm
They literally can-
talking life, like turn off your life.
Yeah. You know,
but
like
they're also creating this thing where it's kind of like cognitive dissonance, but it's also like, why the Mandela effect? Because they could post tweets like I'm about to read and then say he never said that, or we need to, have censorship for AI memes, like Trump's just signing and Melania's backing up. Because Eric Trump posted this on January 26th of this year. Any and all who dare to defy the American golden age, heed this warning. You, all caps, will lose. Toe the line or we will run you down. The gloves are off and we're not playing around this time. For now, it's tariffs. But trust me, we can and we will do, all caps, so much worse.
Damn, bro.
Like, is that a threat, man?
Sure sounds like it.
Woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day. Let me just piss off some people. Did he remove that tweet afterwards?
Yeah, and it was removed within 20 minutes. But this is the thing, is now you're getting people like, he never said that, or they get all angry and whatnot. And I'm like, no.
Right. Are you done sharing?
Why is my screen showing still?
I think you have to stop sharing there, and then I'll switch it back.
Sorry, technical difficulties. No, not leaving me.
That's crazy.
Why is that not letting me do that?
Here, let me see if I can.
I thought closing out Canva would do it, because that's what happened last time.
Oh, it's all good, man.
All right. Anyways, she canceled?
So you're saying we're screwed?
Well, all I'm saying is there's definitely some stuff going on, and I'm finding it interesting. As Greg just said, they're prepping this whole mindset of like, join this golden age, right? And that was the age of the Titans, and then with universal income, as Elon Musk said, it will provide universal income for all. This AI, A equals 1, I equals 9, again X. There's got to be something there where they're telling us that, if you accept this digital communism aspect, Doge,
Yeah.
and you look up his uncle, Joseph Heldman, and please, people, don't write the comment, look him up. He wanted a technocratic empire,
Right.
and I kid you not, Elon is following it to the letter.
Yeah.
Technocratic, making me think of iron and clay. I'm like, yeah, this is the empire that does not live for as long as they think it will, because it gets crushed by the meteorite, wormwood, Christ's return, fill in the blank with whatever, what have you. But they're going to keep trying. They want to dupe as many as possible. But I would laugh, because let's say the two witnesses is actually the church that don't get these Neuralink things. But with the excuse that they use as the narrative is this is a rogue batch. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the power to breathe fire from their mouths and, cause famine and stuff like that. And then you actually get superhuman bad guys or whatever,
Right,
going after the ecclesia. I don't know. I'm just saying I could potentially see something like that go down. And there's literally a war of superpowers. One is of God, one is of man, causing miracles, signs, and wonders. I don't know, but at this point, by 2027, they want to have it where your social security is required to access online.
Right.
And they're already passing all this anti-Semitism bill, this anti-Semitism bill, that. So in essence, they're going to funnel out all the conspiracy theories, those who are solely putting out content for sensationalism.
Well, honestly, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with X right now. I mean, everybody thinks it's about free speech, but he's tracking what you're saying, and they're going to use it against you in the future, because that's the way this thing works, everybody. It's like they want to have you feel comfortable, so that way you let your guard down, you start talking like you did back in the heyday of social media, and then they come back and look what they did. They went back through everybody's history. I mean, look at Chrissy Teigen, for God's sakes. I mean, hello. Like everything that she said, she wants to do something with kids. I don't even remember what she said, but like a lot of them was like, what the
ridiculous.
She wants to do a cheese pizza or something, like
Peyton Oswald, whatever his name. He said stuff too. Patton.
The guy who did
LeBron James had some weird tweets about eating a 12-year-old cheese pizza, and is he going to go to jail for it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's quite.
I mean, it's damned if it's gonna come back to bite you. And now these are all people that, yes, we want to take down. So it's like, okay, yeah, we're okay with looking up at these bad tweets because we're using it to fight evil. But what happens when you're using it to expose truth, and then they call you an anti-Semite or they call you something else in the future, right? Because definitions change. And the enemy changes. They can call you a terrorist at any moment now, right? They've seen this.
You're a domestic terrorist, or you're causing, you're an enemy of the state because you're not patriotic and you're pushing conspiracy theories that are dangerous to the to the rest of us.
Yes. So it can switch on a dime. And like, if you're anti-Trump, I'm just wondering, like with that tweet that Eric Trump deleted, like if you go against the golden age, like we will squash you, makes me think, are we going to fall into that same line? And if they do, will Trump supporters realize it when it happens? Will they see it, or will they be kind of blindfolded by this cloak of hope and false change? I don't know.
But if they do see it, what can they do about it? Like the thing is that's why I'm scratching my head going like, let's say at some point, even his base, which I feel is starting to really question stuff he's been doing,
especially after the Trump Gaza video.
And just weird patterns in him hanging out with his buddy Elon. It's just like, at some point, it's like, if it does come out and we realize, we just screwed the pooch with this guy Trump, like what can you do after that? Like who's coming? Is he going to be the last president? Are they going to make it so there's no more presidents?
They already have a project, was it 2028, where they're going to project third term Trump or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is an actual thing. And Julius Caesar affiliation. They had the thing where I think it was the Department of Security or whatever. They released with Trump sitting there like he looked like Julius Caesar. He crowned himself on the White House thing. Was it the Caesar Stadium?
Caesar Dome.
Caesar Dome. Thank you
for the stupid bowl. Yeah.
And then when he got when he got shot was in the month of July. Again, Julius is named after Julius Caesar. So it's just a lot of this is making me go, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're pushing that much at us, because Christ was specific: render unto Caesar materialism, coinage, things that are required, to your government, the things that are required at this time. But also render unto God the things that are God's. Don't forget your spiritual priorities first and foremost to God. In Kabbalah, as above, so below, you bring God down to your level and you create him in your own image. So if I want to take God's word and justify my nationalism, I can do so, or fill in the blank with whatever, And people don't seem to realize that is substitute, that is Antichrist, and you are ushering it. You are asking for it. He didn't force any of that on you.
Right.
You are participating in the magician's game, MAGA. The magician, he needs a volunteer from the audience, or the game's no good. You need to put your chips on the table, or I can't instigate the game.
Well, and it's almost like he tells you the story before you kind of vote on it. Like he was telling Christians, just vote for me this one last time. You won't have to vote for me ever again.
Do it again. Exactly.
Right? I'm like, what? What do you mean you'll never have to vote again? I even showed that to my wife, and she's like, she doesn't care about Trump. She's like, one way or the other. She's like, whatever, he's freaking weird. But like, she just like, watch that. She's like, you don't have to vote again. That's weird. I was like, yeah. Why would you say that?
Yeah, it's like, what an odd thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's all I'm asking is, again, could be wrong, but with this kind of dialogue, him hanging out with this Noah Hyde Law stuff, plus all this weird stuff with 9/11 being affiliated with him, Barron being super tall, I'm just saying, there's got to be something there. And as Flex is hinting at, there is a strong delusion going on. And it says in the Bible that if possible, it will deceive the elect. Now, elect stems from the Greek word meaning chosen.
Right.
You can't have a great falling away, right? Unless you thought you were in the faith, but you got deceived by what? Things of this world. What's he pitching with this golden age? Well, you look at his $100 bill with the goat in Mar-a-Lago. I think you just did an episode covering that.
Yeah.
In Trump We Trust.
Yep.
The $1,000 bill with the 666, at the bottom right-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I could be wrong, but why is he affiliating himself with goats? And in Trump We Trust with materialism and money, and he happens to be the exchequer of Vatican and World Bank. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, well, I'm going to get, my 401k, my savings, it's always better.
Yeah.
I'm like, groceries are still expensive. There's still chemtrails in the sky. There's still gas.
People are still
down.
taking they're still taking the whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
But why so much in such a short period of time? Like I felt in 2020 when I woke up and I went back, I realized they've programmed us and they've been doing all this over decades. Like I'm 50 years old, so I'm going back saying, okay, they've spread this out, which makes it difficult for us to put our finger on it and go, aha. But right now it seems like everything is all with Trump anyways, is all at one time. Is there a timeline he needs to get this done by, or because it's really just waking up his base. It's waking up everybody.
Right.
But his base, there's a battle between his base now. Like there's
it seems like 2030 is a timeline for everything. I mean, the WEF goals, right? And, I mean, what is it about 2030?
Alice Bailey said that their Messiah figure would essentially come on the scene in 2025. Again, year of the snake.
Yeah.
Probably not a coincidence. All the planets were aligned with the exception of Mercury on Inauguration Day. Mercury is affiliated with Hermes, aka Tammuz. Just scratching my head on that.
Yeah.
But 2030, so you had 2 plus 0 plus 3 plus 0, 5. Pentagram, 5G. 6G they want to have by 2030 where they use humans as antennas. This is by scientists, I think, .org or whatever. Some kind of sciencey pages. They have a lot of this stuff out there.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, okay, so 2030 is when the New World Order was it the World Economic Forum says this is what their ideal is.
Right.
There's somebody that goes all the way into 28, right? And then November going into 2029. Now, let's say you get him in for third term, quote unquote. But I mean, he's already pushing dictator levels. And as Greg just implied, who's to say the definition? What is a terrorist? Domestic terrorist. We always just update the terminology, but you can literally expand and lower that net to go wherever you want and get rid of the opposition and dissenters, which is what he's essentially doing with somebody like Thomas Massey, who accepts no APAC money.
Yep.
And he's like, no, we need to have him censured.
Well, that's a big that's causing a big chasm in between. I mean, Ian Carroll is done a lot of damage to Trump in his campaign and all that stuff. But I mean, to be fair, Trump does it himself, but Ian Carroll just calls him out.
He does.
But yeah, Thomas Massey should be our president. I mean, 100%.
If we did, because he's doing more American first. If you're going by that stuff, like me, I don't really care. I go no king but Christ. But you're in essence, if you're going by the rhetoric that they're pushing, he would be the more ideal candidate. And I think 1/3. I was reading some poll that 1/3 of his base is anti-Semitic, quote unquote, or they're awake to who controls it, but they're not aware of how high up he is or how much he's being called their Messiah figure. I think as the months go on, and between censorship and all this other stuff, there's going to be more than a few that flicker around going, holy crap, this guy is like way too tight with what's going on over there. The comments under the Trump Gaza was enough. But I think as we start progressing, who's to say he won't be there at the Red Heifer ceremony?
Well, and there is this theory, and this goes back to the Q stuff, that Trump is kind of exposing the whole Israel ties, and he's using that, and Israel will be the fall guy. whether it be Israel itself or Netanyahu, and it'll just be like all of this, because like whether or not like it's going to happen or not, there are way more eyes on Israel right now than there ever have been. You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff is really coming out, especially on X. You're seeing like you're seeing a lot of anti-Semitic stuff, but you're also seeing a lot of stuff that's kind of exposing, well, look what happened with the JFK assassin. Look what happened with 9/11. Look what happened with Epstein. And you're seeing all these ties and you're going, well, wait, what? And when Trump's saying he's going to release all these documents, and I'm holding my breath on that. But if they do expose these inner workings of what happened at these gigantic rituals, 9/11, the King Kill ritual, JFK assassination, and you do find tracking back to a certain country, how is that going to shift the narrative in our country, in the United States? Like, I feel like it could possibly happen. And I know that Donnie Darkened had, like, in my 4 episodes that I did on Trump Antichrist, I did like a lot on Donnie Darken. And he kind of talked about this a lot, and I tend to agree with it, where the Q post had one that was saying, like, save Israel for last.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
No one knew what that meant.
Yeah.
And now you kind of see it coming into play, and you're going, oh, so what if they pull the rug? What if he pulls the rug out under Israel? And now I don't want to like say this is going to happen. And, I feel like it could, but that's giving him too many excuses. It's like giving him the right to do all this stuff and to like send money over there and bomb everybody and kill a bunch of people. And I'm like, even if he does expose them, how many people have to die and how many U.S. citizens have to inject themselves with miracle medicine in order to like get to this final end state here? It's like,
yeah,
seems very.
Well, here's the thing, like you just pitched. If they got rid of the state of Israel and you have these people pushing Tartaria to a level where it's over here like, oh, we had all this technology, we can get back to it and stuff like that. And I think it was Rick Wiles. And again, I don't agree with him 100%. I'd give him about 90. Same thing with some stuff with Tom Horn. That's the problem. So I cite one person, everybody gets upset. It's like, okay, I'm just citing it. It's just like I'm saying this is a CNN article. Doesn't mean I agree with it 100%. Just ironic I'm seeing this. But he was saying that they're in essence trying to push the digital citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, if you get rid of the state, it doesn't really matter, right? And then you get these people with the New Agers. It's like, oh, God's within us, so we don't really need a state of Israel. So getting rid of that was actually good. So now that we've gotten rid of them, we just need to find that inner God within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You follow? I could see very easily a narrative like that coming around because we actually got rid of the evil, right? Save Israel for last. Yeah. We actually got rid of the worst of the worst. And now we have a chance to ascend and find God within ourselves one last time.
And that goes
right back to the Garden of Eden. You shall ascend to be like gods.
Right. And that goes into the whole getting rid of the Bible. I mean, Christianity will go away. You'll have, I don't know if, Judaism will go away. But if you get rid of Israel, I mean, that's where a lot of religious Jews go to, pay homage to the wall,
Yeah.
But I don't know, so do you think that the third temple will be built? Because they need that to be built in order for the sacrifice to happen for the red heifer, right?
I believe so. But again, part of it, I kind of wonder because Netanyahu said is that America is our golden calf and we will milk it until it is dry. And this was right. I think it was in right after 9/11. It was after the UK, wherever they had something in the tunnels over there. I think it was in August. He said something to that effect. He was caught on audio.
I was trying to find that as a source. So if you have a source, send it to me because I've seen
a
memes.
Slide. I'll zoom in and try to see if I can find exactly what it was said.
Okay.
But yeah, in essence, I kind of wonder if America is quote unquote their Edom. You saw the whole argument there.
Mm-hmm.
If they're using America as the proverbial calf, but they have us looking at the red heifers and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's got to be that. It's got to be that. But what if it's America that is supposed to fall, right? And then we get Mystery Babylon the Great, and they're going to say, oh, that meteor, we wipe out, we don't need America anymore. That's why we're sending all this money over there like crazy because they're milking us dry.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need for our third temple, right? And it's over here like, yeah, Doge is saving us money so we can forward it to the grandparents of all the occult. That's kind of what we're doing in essence.
Yeah. I mean, it could go either way right now. And that's where I'm like, the evidence is pointing that America is going to fall. The digital currency will have, come to right. It has to fall in order for the digital currency to take place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's kind of waiting for this economic crash and just like, what are you going to do? Like, if you have to sign up for a digital currency, are you going to do it? Like, how are you going to feed your family? How are you going to, all these things?
Because they'll say, sign up for digital currency, you don't have to pay taxes. That's how they're going to get people. They're going to probably somehow say, don't pay no more taxes because Trump wants to get rid of that. And you'll see how many people will be like, hey, it's already digital anyways. Like, I never see money. It's always literally just e-transfer, PayPal. So I feel we're already there, but I can see them dangling that carrot saying, hey, man, no more federal tax or this or that, but you have to sign up for it. And they will. That's
assuming that the dollar holds any value at the time that they're offering this. So, like, let's just say they don't even have to do that. They can just pull the plug on the dollar and have it totally crash and be like, it's either this or nothing. Like, you get your digital currency or you don't get anything at all.
Yeah.
And so I just have one last question for you, though, Brandon. Do you think this is like a worldwide conspiracy, or like, because you need everybody in cohorts with one another in order to pull this off? And we've seen what happened with the big C, little V, the crown, right? Everybody was in lockstep. The world was in lockstep. And so was that just like a practice run for the big Gahuna that's coming here, which is like the crash of the currency? Like, how do you think that this plays out here in the future?
So 2 books I'd recommend for folks, Bloody Zion by Edward Hendry and Rulers of Evil by Tupper Saucy. Now, Rulers of Evil is very expensive. If you can print it off from online, you can't get an online book version. It's kind of how I'm coming to my conclusions, because Washington, D.C. was originally known as Rome. We were founded as a Catholic nation, hence Mary Land. It was consecrated for the Virgin Mary by a priest by the name of Andrew White, where we get the White House from. A lot of depictions that they show is, America burning and Trump looking at the Statue of Liberty as he's flying out with Air Force One. Who's to say he won't go over to the Vatican and make it his new residence, because the world loves him. In Italy, they already had the God Emperor Trump, 30 Warhammer 30K, whatever it was. In Japan, they have parades for him. And yes, it is an international conspiracy. The 10 kings of Atlantis are the 10 toes of the statue of the Club of Rome that they want to establish for a New World Order empire. This is what they're trying to get back to. At the back of Elon Musk's Dark Matter Assemble, they had, I think it was up to 6 texts from Atlantis in the background, all showing.
Oh.
These people are trying to reestablish a New World Order with the Archons, Nephilim. They want them to be back in control. Now, whoever that is, maybe this connects with the bloodlines that Gary Wayne talks about, and they're all bidding who has the highest bloodline purity credentials to sit on a council of 10 under the Lucifer. It's a theory. I'm pitching it. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but
not really.
We know that these people are trying to create a Babel 2.0. In essence, I would close with saying, look up as well New World Order by Prince, the lyrics. It is quite telling.
Right.
Because he's talking about miracle medicines.
Yep.
And he's also saying that there will be an injection that will make sure that people will not want to seek political gain. When the lines are blurred between a boy and girl, how are you going to find out who you are in this new world?
Well, that's weird that you bring up like the 10 kingdoms, because like the Club of Rome, I don't know if you've seen that map, but it literally has the 10
that's
kingdoms.
What I've been implying. Yeah.
And it's literally the United States, Canada, and Greenland. What's Trump trying to do right now? He's trying to get them all.
Or Canada.
Allegedly, Trump has the Danes connect with the tribe of Dan, allegedly. But that would connect with Trump's bloodline, having a bloodline heritage to the Danish kings. And this is why he would want Greenland. If you're going by biblical cosmology, Greenland is really close to Niagara Rubis, or whatever it is, the Black Mountain, the magnet that's supposed to be pushing all of our compasses north, which is supposed to be north of Greenland, aka North Pole. I don't know, but I'm just saying maybe there's something to consider there.
Okay. All right. Well, Dango, Flex, do you have any last questions, closing words?
There's a lot to consider. So
Yeah, dude. I mean,
yeah, you take it all in, and like I said, just got to live your life. Just not dwell on things, but at the same time, just keep your eyes and ears open, because things aren't, for us up here in Canada, things are not getting better. The person that replaced Trudeau is even worse. And we'll next week, Greg and I will do a little episode. And I'll chat a little bit about that, because it's kind of like, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, but I also did things in my life to stay away from all that. And just, I want people to be the same, trust in yourself, trust in God, trust in your family, and stop trusting people and putting them on pedestals. And that includes presidents. Sorry, folks.
Yep.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, eventually they'll let you down. So and we're here to warn you. So we'll be here when you guys wake up. So anyway, yeah, Brandon, awesome show, man. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, always fantastic. Always fun to pick your brain about this stuff, because we're all kind of seeing the same trends. We're seeing the same signs and symbols. And, when they land, it's going, oh, another 9/11 with Trump. Oh, something happened on a blood moon. Oh, what do you know? The Pope's doing some crazy stuff. So I don't know. It's always fun having you, man. So thanks for coming on. And where can people find you before we get out of here?
Yeah, Manna, as in the Bible, Manna Daily Podcast, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, and if you can, support on Patreon. And then my name, like on the screen, Kroll, Kroll, ology, lore_101.
Excellent.
Again, thanks for having me on.
Anytime, man. Yeah, awesome to have you back. And everybody out there, stay safe. And until next time, stay steamy.